Hey guys, so we left off with the arms had the steps in the slot done, and we're just gonna jump right into it. We're gonna need to make a custom fastener and a pin, and we already have the nuts and bolts we need. We're gonna have to put in some oil holes, make bushings, and fit it up to the locomotive. So we're gonna start off. I'm gonna start off by making the oil holes, and we're gonna meet back at the lathe, where we're gonna I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna start off with the oil holes. After that, I'm going to off-camera countersink the back of this to accommodate custom fastener that a buddy of mine helped shed some light on the situation of how we're gonna keep these two together. And so I'm gonna just make a countersink on the back here, just big enough to accept the fastener that we're going to make for it. And then we're gonna meet back on the lathe where we're gonna make the custom fastener to go in here. So very simple little job, making a custom fastener with the thread at the end, a little wide enough so we're not clamping and pinching these down. So we'll see you in a few seconds. Alright, so unfortunately, until I can think of something to do better with recording for the lathe, recording on the lathe is at this point impossible. So I've gone ahead and I've made both pins, which are secured together with a nut. I'll actually, right after this segment, I'm going to jump to the computer and we're going to talk a bit about what I did and how I did it. And what does it look like, and what does the pin look like in the slot, and just to give you guys an idea of how it's done. But they're done. Now unfortunately there's a bit more lathe work to do, so I'm going to make all the bushings, and we'll come back up and we'll fit them up. And we'll talk a bit about the bushings afterwards. So I'll see you back at the bench when the bushings are done.
Well, so here we are inside of SolidWorks, and as you can see, this is the little pin I made to attach both rods together, and it's got a countersink at the back, just so it doesn't foul the pad on the drivers. It's got a short thread on the front, and distance between here, well, the distance of this total cylindrical portion over here is about 10 thou larger than the width of the rods, and that's to make sure when we tighten up our nut we don't bottom out and clamp the two parts together. So we want a bit of that extra space so we can pull. We don't pull the two pieces together, but we do manage to secure it enough so that it doesn't come loose or anything like that. So we're gonna put a washer again. We put a washer against this face and a nut on this thread, and that's how we did it.
So as you can see, we got all the rods bushed. Again, it's been a massive pain in the ass recording stuff on the lathe. So we got them pressed in. It's just easy enough just to press them in on the on the bench vise. And so now these pins I pre-made, which I used some 5/16 pre-ground, are a little bit big on the big side. I don't know if my reamer's cutting it a bit small, but so we're going to go ahead and we're just going to take some sandpaper and try to remove a few thou off the diameter. And so that should do it for that, and we'll come back with the frame on the bench, and we're going to put the wheels in the frame, and we're going to put the rods on the locomotive. Alright, so stay tuned. So folks, here they are with the rods mounted against the locomotive. I do apologize for the second part being a bit more rushed, but I think I found a couple better ways to record on the lathe, and we'll test that next segment. And the next segment is going to be, what are we doing next? I don't even know what we're doing next. Next. I guess we'll start working on the finishing up the cylinders, and we'll make our way back in the valve motion, and we'll get all the valve gear installed. And so yeah, that's them installed. She rolls okay. She's got a few tight spots, which I'll have to get sorted out. But apart from that, wheels were quartered properly. I did them right, so it makes me happy. And apart from that, not much I can say. Apart from it, it's going along. It's going along pretty good. It's the first time I had a chance to put a good amount of hours into it in my shop, testing out all the stuff and more or less where tooling is good and what location, moving stuff around as I use it, and say, oh well, that could be more efficient if it be over there or whatever. So it's it. The locomotive is coming along. If any of you are interested in looking up the locomotive, that's it right there. Princess Marina. It's a LMS 260. It's a mogul. It was designed by LBSC. A few changes along the way, but apart from that, we're going to stick to the drawing as much as we can. So this is part 2 of the rods. Not as descriptive as part one. I still haven't decided if I'm going to go long format or short format, show every single step and all the operations, or if I'm going to go, or sort of how I did, okay, well I did this now, and then I'm going to go do this, and if there's anything special, I'll show you guys or whatever. And so that's it. I started it last year from scratch. Everything is CNC. There's not a single casting on the locomotive, which I'm pretty proud of. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of frustrations, many hours in the CNC shop. Each wheel more or less took 3 days to make, and it was pretty much a nightmare to make those wheels, coming into all those tight corners with a tight end mill and popped end mills left and right. But we got it done, and eventually we'll get on to making the boiler, but that's after we get a running chassis, and we have to make a tender for it. And, we got a lot of way to go. Got a long way to go, but I'm confident we can get there. So let me know what you guys think about these videos. If you preferred the short format, or the long format. If anybody even sees this video, no, I'm sure somebody will watch it at some point. So, thanks for watching, and if you guys enjoyed, please subscribe. Please consider subscribing. Leave a comment, leave a like if you liked it, leave a dislike if you disliked it. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So, take care, guys.